G'day guys, and welcome to PBHQ Live. This is episode number 332. It's January 30 of 2023. I'm Dwayne Nichols, and man, it's been a pretty wild week as far as paintball is concerned. Probably one of the most wild that I can remember insofar as NXL pro player moves, sort of rumors. A lot of guys are, I guess the saying would be spilt the tea or, sort of gone out and said a few things that were sort of kept in secret in the past and weren't really talked about in the public forum, at least not at this level, and they certainly have been now. So if you are joining in for the show, let me know who you are and where you are and if you're watching at the moment, and let me know what you think of it all if you've been following along this past week in everything that's been happening in paintball. Absolute insanity, excuse me. And so I will get into that in a little bit. I also have results from the Coffs Harbour event, the Elite One 3-man that happened up there on the weekend just gone. And I'll touch also on the little scenario game at Ultimate Paintball in Camden and how that turned out to play out. So yeah, if you're joining in the chat, and let me know, I'm still learning my way around YouTube. If you can hear me, if everything's coming through clear, if it all looks sweet, as best I can tell, it should be sweet, but it is looking good. So yeah, Dave Hall is in at the moment. Jordan is in, and the guys from Vicious Speedball are in commenting as well. And if, like Dave, your name comes through, if your YouTube account is not your personal name, well, it would be handy if you could tell me who you are so that we can continue the chat. That's probably the only downside I see from moving over from Facebook to YouTube, is that it is a little bit harder for me to know exactly who is who based on usernames, but that's not that big a deal. I'm sure we can work it out along the way. Paintballshop.com are a major sponsor of this show and have been for a long time, going back the best part of 6 years now. And at the moment, they are doing $200 off all G-Tech 170Rs and M170Rs at paintballshop.com. So that is not only the Planet Eclipse G-Tech 170Rs, but also the HK Army like limited edition ones that they brought out. So if you're looking to pick one of those up, you can go over to paintballshop.com. You'll save yourself $200. These mid-range guns, the G-Tech 170R is one of the best performing guns in the mid-range price bracket, and to save $200 is a great deal. So you can head over there and pick yourself up one. I noticed, I think they had 4 or 5 colorways left in stock. There was a few colorways that were out of stock. So head over there and see what they've got and see what you like. For me personally, the all black is still in stock. So if I was going to be buying a 170R, that's what I would be looking at. Estevan from the Wicked Warriors is in. The Riot Crew from Malaysia are in at the moment. Susan from overseas in the States at the moment is in too. I'll just quickly silence my phone. So yeah, paintballshop.com, go and get that if you're looking to pick up a gun for the new season, which a lot of events are starting to happen the next couple of weekends. You can actually, in fact, see them right here. Got all the upcoming events just scrolling along there at the moment. So if you're interested in playing anything in the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to see what's coming up. And Gladiator want you to know that they are restocking all of your favorites right now. So it's been a long time for a couple of particular sizes of tanks, given the manufacturing issues and the shipping issues that a lot of companies experienced in the last 2 years. Gladiator weren't immune to that, but they now have the C68D, so that is the one pictured on your screen there, the Ultralight 68, the A48, and even the U77, the Ultralight 77, which was requested by players for such a long time. So they are restocking this week and should be available from next week from any of your Gladiator stockists. Go and pick one up. So yeah, Wimpy's in saying g'day. Connor saying awesome gun, the 170R. Totally agree. We've had a couple of guys have them here locally, and I know a lot of guys that sort of got into the game in the last couple of years that didn't want to splurge on the high-end guns right to begin with, but didn't want to go in with like an entry-level gun. That 170R just answered, it sort of fit the bill for a lot of people. It wasn't too expensive. You knew it was going to be reliable, well-made, everything that Planet Eclipse do really well. So yeah, that is the mentions for the major sponsors of the show. And I did use this picture that I put together this morning as a bit of a wrap up as how I felt when I was trying to get the show together for tonight and trying to piece together how I would talk about everything that happened in the world of paintball this week. And it has been absolute insanity, which is why the YouTube video is titled NXL Off-Season Insanity, because that's the best way to put it. So to quickly give you a summary and an overview to begin with, AC Diesel, this was their pickups for the year, and this is not to mention Shane Howe. This is not to mention Nico Hyde, who's joined the team as well. So A-Rod, Justin Rabikoff, Kyle Spicker, Alex Goldman, and these moves essentially blew up the off-season. The guys, Kyle seems to be the one copping all the heat for this, but the guys were all looking for various new challenges for various reasons. And then they all found out and became aware. Obviously, Kyle Spicker and Mouse, they run a business together. They're best mates. Mouse and J-Rab and A-Rod have all been on teams together. Everybody's talking, and they got together and they decided they wanted to play together. And AC Diesel was a team that was looking to grow over the next couple of years. They were looking to pick up J-Rab initially, and then as the sort of all the cogs started turning and everything started falling into place, pieces changed. Options were different for a few different people. And then, AC Diesel, rather than grabbing J-Rab and potentially one or two others, and then doing, the same again next year, grabbing another 2-star players, and the same the following year, they just went all in for this year. Will McDonald saying we need to patch Bear into this. No, we absolutely do not, and Spick and Span should not, and anyone related to paintball doing any type of content creation or news should not involve Bear in their content creation whatsoever. He screams into the void, and for some reason the void is given airtime occasionally, so you'll never see Bear on a show that I have anything to do with. John Abello is joining in at the moment as well. Thanks for checking out the show, mate, and I'll be speaking about the event that he was playing at in just a little bit. The other pro moves that all sort of came, or not directly off the back of, but are somehow related to all of those other moves that just happened during the week. So Dalton Vanderbilt to Impact. He was initially going to go in a 4-way deal with Mouse, Spicker, and J-Rab to Diesel. In fact, he was announced as playing for Diesel. And then as things started to pan out, found his way back to Impact, where he has played before on what was said to be an incredible deal. Can't blame the guy. Go and get paid. I'm all for it. From Revo, Chris Shear, I'm not entirely sure how he pronounces it. I have seen him interviewed, but just forget. But he is making the move to Dynasty to replace the Dalton-sized hole in the Dynasty lineup. And then Silos goes to Revo, and Silos is a bit of an all-rounder. Typically has been known as an attacker on the Snake side, but he can play either side of the field. I guess he is a bit of a replacement when it comes to Chris Scher leaving. And then the Brooklyn Bears with a double pickup. So also leaving Revo was Greg Hrostek and Ivan Gonzalez. Now, Ivan's someone I'm not familiar with at all, but he came up in the semi-pro team, Austin Notorious, who won semi-pro last year, got the pro spot, and he has since been picked up from the Brooklyn Bears. So helped the team own the pro spot, jumps over to the Brooklyn Bears, which is Seattle Thunder for anyone who hasn't been following along. And one-time Sydney SWAT member, LJ Woodley, has joined the ML Kings, who are local to him in Florida, or at least I believe he lives down there. I've seen him training in his Instagram and whatnot. He's been down in Florida training quite a bit. So he's joined the ML Kings, who are based out of there. So pretty incredible. Connor Reed says should do something like the NBA does for trades and drafts. Yeah, I agree. It would make it interesting. It's been particularly interesting this week. Billy Colias from the Wicked Assassins is in. Chris Thomas is in. A trade period. I think I was watching Vince from Let's Talk Paintball earlier in the week, and he summed it up best. And I think this doesn't just go for professional paintball players, but you could include me in this. You could include a lot of people in this. He said that everybody is a free agent when the right offer comes along. And in pro paintball particularly, that is absolutely the truth. There is a lot of people playing pro paintball that play for free. There is some that get paid a little bit. There is some that get given equipment to sell to fund their playing. There is some that earn ridiculous amounts of money for what it is, playing 5 events throughout the course of the year. If you can get paid, man, there's no loyalty, or there is little loyalty, and nor should there be. A lot of these guys, their opportunity, their earning window as a professional paintball player is so short that, yeah, if you can earn money playing the game in the time during your 20s, 30s, whilst ever you are healthy and fit and able to play at the highest level, get out, get paid. James from the Wicked Assassins is also joining in. Chris says that LJ is such a nice guy. Yeah, I've heard a real mixed bag on LJ, particularly out of the US pros. I think he's left some teams in not the best of circumstances, I would say, but my only interactions with him when he came out to Australia, dude was super upbeat. He added so much on the field for the event that he was out here, and then at the after party he was pretty wild too. So yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about LJ. From my experience out here in Australia, I really like the guy, and I'm sure that teams would welcome him back out here once it's affordable to get US pros back out and playing here in Australia. A couple of other things to touch on from the madness of this week. There was the Kyle Spicker, or the Spick and Span show, Ryan Greenspan, Kyle Spicker, their YouTube show. I think they had over 1,000 live viewers during their show, which is just incredible paintball numbers. That just doesn't happen. And Kyle went on to sort of spill some of the secrets of the pro paintball scene, that being that the 5 or 6 biggest teams, so your Heats, your Impacts, your Damage maybe to a smaller extent, Russian Legion, these guys that can afford to pay salaries, talk. And they quite often talk about what they're willing to pay players. You can put Dynasty and Iron Man in there to a smaller degree perhaps. And they've sort of, without setting a cap, they've agreed upon a cap amongst themselves to say that we won't pay anyone above X amount. It seems like it's somewhere between like the sort of 60 and 80K range, US dollars that is. So I guess you would say 80 to 100 grand in Australian dollars. They've sort of all agreed if Alex Goldman comes on the market and a team's looking at him, Bart would speak to Sarge and say, hey, we're only going to pay him 60. Don't you pay him more than 60, because if you pay him more, then everyone else is going to think they're worth more, and that's going to drive the price of everything up. Is that smart by the owners? Yeah, probably. Is it a little bit underhanded? I don't know. I think it's interesting. But out of all of this, and my takeaway altogether, I believe, and I could be proven wrong, and you can maybe look it up and let me know if that is the case. But as best I'm aware, pro first place prize money is still 12,000 US dollars. There is 5 pro events. If you win all 5, which nobody has done, I don't even think when there was 4 and Impact were absolutely on a tear, I don't think they won all 4. I've never known a team to win all pro events in any one season. But if you did, this coming year, 2023, you would win 60,000 US dollars. The rumored salaries of the Impact lineup, now the AC Diesel lineup, the Heat lineup, is in the region of 200,000 US dollars. The portion of people that have the amount of money that they're willing to spend 200,000 to potentially win 60,000 is incredibly small. And the likelihood that those people are going to spend that money in paintball is just like a percentage, like a tiny percentage of a tiny percentage. It's incredible. The people like Sarge, the people like Bart that do this, wild. Timmy Colgan says that he's currently listening to the latest PTG and listening to Mark Johnson. I haven't listened to that yet, but my understanding is that Mark Johnson wanted to ruffle some feathers regarding that owner sort of thing that's going on, where they all agree that they're not going to spend more than X amount of dollars on any one player. He wanted to come in and switch things up and make it a little bit interesting in the pro division and start putting together a killer team over the course of 2 or 3 years. and just through circumstances, he ended up doing that all at once. I did pose the question if you think this is the craziest offseason in the NXL ever, keeping in mind that just last year was the year that the Latin Saints arrived, and I think that J-Rab signed for 120 grand was the rumor last year. He probably got paid a third at that at most, but yeah, Connor saying it's ludicrous. Chris says Impact took 3 and then Dynasty took World Cup. Yeah, as far as winning all events in a year, that might sound right to me as well. So, yeah, it's just the crazy scenarios that play out in tournament pro paintball is wild to me. I did make a comment earlier in the week that I think as far as there being 20 pro teams, truly pro teams, and pro, I very loosely use that word. I think it should be called Division 1 paintball, and I've mentioned that a lot in the past. But if you want a truly pro division with the best of the best stacked into the best amount of teams, you probably need 8 teams max. You need 8 teams that can afford to pay salaries that are a living wage, which is a massive issue in the US in paintball or otherwise. But if they can pay a living wage to 8 full rosters of players who can train and play at the highest level, I think you'd get better quality paintball. I think that the semi-pro division would be improved. I think, and my understanding is that the semi-pro division in the last couple of years has just come on in leaps and bounds anyway, so I think that raw talent is there. And I think that the age of a lot of your favorite pros are getting into the 35 to 40, and even in the low 40s. That can't stay that way forever. You cannot expect guys in their late 30s, early 40s with families and commitments and whatnot, especially if they're not earning livable wages, like I said, to continue playing this pro level stuff. That's where these young guys are coming in at the moment. So Division 1 would be a better name until it's regulated and paid. Yeah, well, and that's sort of where I'm at. The professionalism in professional paintball is wild. You hear stories of pro players not training prior to events. Like, in what professional sport can a player, in the month prior to an event? We just had the Australian Open. Do you think any of those tennis players were just like, no, I'll just show up in Melbourne and not play in the month prior? I'll just have a month off and come in fresh. But absolutely not. Unless they're coming back from an injury or they're nursing an injury. But hearing that in pro paintball is just incredible. And Chris saying living wage and a few laughing emojis. Well, I mean, there is guys out there, and Dalton seems to be the pick of the bunch at the moment that seems to have been getting a genuine well above living wage in the US. So it can happen. Wade Graham tuning in from work at the moment. That's cool. Thanks for joining in, mate. Hopefully you're on a break and you're not going to get yourself in trouble. But so that's my rough update on what's going on this week. There is more to go on. The Alex Fragi and Kyle Spicker, I don't think it's beef. I think they are genuinely still going to be friends. Miscommunication, perhaps. Kyle's sort of been painted a bit as a bad guy. Fragi's, I've seen someone say that at his age, that much salt in his diet is probably not healthy. Someone said that he was saltier than the ocean. A lot of banter thrown around there. I think Damien Vasquez just sitting in the background and drinking 84 litres of water was a bit of a laugh. If you do have the time, the Spick and Span show is worthwhile watching. I really love keeping PBHQ to 30 minutes. I think it's digestible. I think I get through the major points and then we move on. Spick and Span was 3 hours. I watched like 45 minutes and then I had to go for a little while, and I came back, watched a couple more minutes, and then they brought Bear on, and that was the end for me. But it is worthwhile watching to listen to Kyle go into detail. And if you want like a 20-minute spiel on the whole thing, Vince from Let's Talk Paintball, you should subscribe to him. He's the best in the business at the moment as far as breaking all this stuff down. He's done a really good job of it. He speaks with a lot of the pros. He's got all the information. Just go and check that out. And whilst you're subscribing to YouTube channels, if you haven't already subscribed to this one, I think you should do that too. Righto, what else? Super Sevens. Got a bit of an update here for the Super Sevens. Just earlier today, they dropped their field layout for the first event of the year. Wanted to get everybody's thoughts on this one. I think it's good. It's one of the better Super Sevens layouts that I can remember in recent years. There was a period of time, I would say 2019, 2020-ish, that I thought most of the Super Sevens layouts were lacking. They weren't very exciting. They didn't look fun to play or to watch. But I think last year, and I believe this one, bucked that trend entirely. I think that this layout looks a bit more fun. I like that they've got the new bunkers. I've been speaking with Mike quite a bit about that. So they're upgrading their bunker kits. They will be arriving either late this week or early next week. So the Mini W gets replaced. The new brick that you would have seen in the NXL last year will be coming in. So yeah, I think that the field layout looks good. Love the bricks up at the Snake 50. Yeah, that happened a few times a couple of years ago when Asylum was still, so I think 2019 or 2018, when we were playing semi-pro quite regularly pre-COVID. Quite often they would have those bricks on the 50s, either at Dorito or Snake side. And it just makes for a lot of rundowns, close-up kills, trade-offs. I think those bricks bring that, which makes it exciting for the viewer if both teams have attacking frontmen. Billy saying Doritos versus Snake will be fun to play. Wade says he loves it. Chris wants to play that layout. Looks like it could play quickly and not be overly paint intensive. Yeah, I think you could certainly have players make dynamic moves, I suppose is the word, up through the center of the field. And that would, they'd be able to be missed by the opposition team if you move your way through. I think that could work out. Michael Namoski joining in at the moment. And actually, speaking of Michael Namoski, spoke with him yesterday. He dropped out to the field here in Wagga. And just here, you see Super 7s Pro, February 25 and 26. There is only 2 days there. That is yet to be confirmed by Mike Wybrew. I did speak to him earlier today, and he said that it looks like it's going that way. The mail that I've got is that Eskimo Nation will not be entering Super 7s Pro. Adelaide Assassins will not be entering for round one. And that the Manawatu Titans from New Zealand will also not be making the trip for round one. Southeast Cartel, it looks as though they have picked up a couple of the guys from Eskimo Nation, and they were sort of teetering with not having enough players, but I believe they've got a team over the line. So we should be looking at 6 or 7 teams now that Colt have come in. Marauders are out. If you weren't watching the show last week, you would have missed that. So yeah, big change at the Super 7, 6 or 7 pro teams. It's looking like to be confirmed next week for that one. And there's a chance that the M's and semi-pro divisions may be 1 day only events. That is to be confirmed. They're all over here in the upcoming events. If you haven't entered your team, do the organisers a favour and do that. Please get your team's regos in for those events. Speaking of events, the biggest of the events that happened over the weekend, seen 16 teams turn out at Elite 1 Paintball in Coffs Harbour across 3 divisions to play in their 3-man event. Blade got the win in their Division 1, Raw 2nd place, and Black Flag 3rd. I thought I would use Raw. The guys last year, when they got their jerseys done up, or it might have even been the end of 2021, sent me a jersey, my name and number on it. I always think it's cool when teams do that. I've got a selection of jerseys that I rotate throughout the background of the show when it's relevant to the teams that are playing events. And Raw being on the podium this weekend, just gone by, they get their jersey up in the background. If you're getting jerseys made for this year and it's not too late, you can always get one done too. If you want to see it up in the background of the show, I would be a very grateful recipient if you wanted to do that. Got the Gladiator shirt up in the background, a few sponsor shout outs here, a few of the medals as well, stuff everywhere, trophies. A paintball video game. Do you remember when they made those? When they released those on consoles, there's actually a really good, a decent looking paintball video game coming out. If you follow, I think it's 52 Studios on Instagram at the moment. They're working on an absolute cracker as far as that game. It's just looking really, really solid. Luke from Make It Rain is in, says Super 7s looks crazy. Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be great. Really keen to see how that one plays out when the webcast pops up in a month's time. Division 2 at Elite 1 Paintball. And this photo of a bunch of misfits, you'd be familiar with all these faces, or a lot of these faces. These guys have been playing events Some of them for probably the best part of 30 years, potentially longer. Some of them wouldn't even be 30 years old. But yeah, across the board, the Bush Pigs, a great bunch of fellas, great players, great referees, even better blokes. They had a couple of teams in Division 2. The winners, the Tards, they were a Bush Pigs-based team. And then second was the Bush Pigs, and third was the Valhalla Reapers. So that was the results from Division 2. And both of the photos, the one you've seen earlier and the one that you're looking at right now, are from Disarray, which is Angus Renton. So shout out to him for sending those through. And then in their amateur division, or their Div 3, the Valkyries got the win, Manifest second, and ARB Bros got third. I don't know if ARB is related to the Full Drive company. I could only assume that it is. If it's something else, if it's like most paintball team names in amateur divisions, you usually don't want to ask what the abbreviations mean. It's usually something wildly inappropriate. So it's probably best to leave that, and we'll just say that it's four-wheel drive related. A lot of good feedback from the event on the weekend. The few players that I spoke to said they loved it. I asked for some feedback on Facebook and got that good feedback there too. Guys said they loved it. The only downer that I heard was that it was crazy humid, but you can't control the weather. You can only do your best as far as the weather is concerned. And I heard that they managed it incredibly well, and they're looking at improving upon the venue for that type of thing in the future, having some sort of player cooling station, whatever that might mean, fans, misters, water. They're working on it. Alan Harrison is joining in at the moment as well. Chris saying you don't want to ask, that he always does. Yeah, we've come across some good ones, and then some ones that just aren't as funny as you expect over the course of years of running beginners events. Yeah, sometimes it is risky to ask. We've had teams just outright refuse to tell us as well, which, again, I'm not going to press the issue all too much. I think it's probably for the best sometimes that you don't know. So great feedback on the Elite 1 event. 16 three-man teams is a great turnout across 2 days. So shout out to everyone involved in that. And I believe their next event might be in like June or something, a June long weekend perhaps. It's a fair way off, at least I'm certain of, for Elite 1. So look ahead. There is a PBHQ paintball calendar for all of Australia if you want to go and check that out. And you can find all the dates, not just the ones that are coming up soon like these ones, but way, way into the future, right through until December. Some events have been announced that far in advance. The other event that happened on the weekend just gone by was the Ultimate Domination scenario game that happened at Ultimate Paintball in Camden. Now, it didn't end up really running as a scenario game. It tended to be more like a club day or a social day from the little bit of feedback that I got. They had 34 players turn out. The guy, the ref, or the staff member that was put in charge of putting this all together and running the event, is only fairly new to paintball, involved for a little while, and was keen to take on feedback of the experienced players who've played events all across not only Sydney, but the country, and even internationally. So they didn't end up having winners and losers per se. They went out and had a social day of paintball, heard good things. Hopefully any of that feedback is constructive and taken on board, and they improve it in the future. Again, a few mentions of the humidity and how the weather turned out on the weekend. I can entirely vouch for that here in Wagga. It rained all Saturday night, and Sunday morning was like 32 degrees and reffing punters, and it was raining and humid and gross. I can only imagine Sydney, and even Coffs was pretty similar whole way along. Lucas is in saying, where can you find the calendar? And Chris Dickens is also in at the moment. So the calendar is available. I've shared the link on PBHQ a bunch of times. I might even, let me see, because I am on my PC, let me see if I can quickly, without killing anything here, get the link. Let's see how this works out, and go over to the comments section, which is behind my camera. So I just got to bang around here. Try that out. Hopefully that comes through for you now. That should be the link to the paintball calendar with all of the events across Australia. actually just added was the NXL ACT events, which have been only announced yesterday or Saturday night. So they are available. Wade says that he got 2 Nerf gun kills at the event. I did hear that there was Nerf guns in play. Someone mentioned that, and I seen a photo. Might have been Pebbles, who does a bit of YouTube stuff as well, might have mentioned that online. Yeah, hey, if you can get kills with a Nerf gun in a paintball event, that's epic. And yeah, I can see that the link's coming through in the comments there now. So bookmark that. It has an app. Team Up, the website that I used, there is an app. So you can even have the app if I can get my phone. Let's just have a quick look here. Quickly punch this through to give you an idea of what it looks like on the phone. So the Team Up app, if you look ahead, it's all color-coded events that come through. You can see obviously a lot of Super 7s here. Which way am I going? There. So the pink events are in Asia. Blue events are New South Wales ACT. The NXL USA dates are in there the whole way through. Wagga 3 man. Look, put that one in your calendar. Wagga 3 man. 25, 26. You want to be a part of that one. Get your teams registered. Get in touch with me. You want to be there. So yeah, the link is there. Save it as a bookmark. The app is pretty handy too if you want to have it on your phone. I recommend that you do that. All right. Let's wrap up tonight's show. Got a couple of things to mention before we're done. If you sign up at patreon.com/PBHQ by tomorrow, you will be in the draw for the February giveaway, or the January giveaway done in February. I'm giving away 2 HK Sonic loaders. So that will be happening on next week's show. You need to sign up by tomorrow to be eligible for that. If you also sign up before February 10, you will be eligible for all of these prizes throughout the course of the year. Most importantly, that being the November and December prizes, tanks for your whole team and a $2,000 shopping spree. Massive, massive prizes. You only have 10 or 11 days left to sign up if you want to be involved for November and December. So please sign up and do that. Hats are underway. They are being produced. I should see them towards the end of this week, potentially. Hopefully, I can show them off next week on the show, but I would imagine that it will be the following week that you'll see them on the show. So the PBHQ hats are coming. And finally, I've got to run through some birthday mentions. That being Hody from here in Wagga. Josh Hode is celebrating his birthday today. Cody, not Hody, Cody is celebrating a birthday tomorrow. Couple of Daves, Justin, Jasper, Belly, Martin, and this photo, if you want a PB Athlete sponsorship there and a Gladiator sponsorship, just look at those little logos in there. Belly knows what he's up to. So great photo of Belly there by Kayla Woodham. He's celebrating his birthday later in the week, but special birthday on February 5th. I got asked if I could mention this one in particular. So Claire Beaumont is Dave Hall's stepdaughter. Dave, who a lot of you would be familiar with. He's traveled to events in Victoria from Tasmania. He has also played Super Sevens events and even, I think, refed Super Sevens events at one point, maybe a Novs or an EMS event as well. Played Total Wars, all of that. He has been around the traps for a few years now and is a paintball field ref and owner down there in Tasmania as well. So Claire is his stepdaughter, and she has been looking forward to playing paintball for a few years now. The age limit is 16 down there, and she turns 16 later this week on the 5th. The 5th would be Sunday, and she will be playing her first game of paintball the following Saturday, I believe. So happy birthday to everyone this week, but in particular to you, Claire. I remember how exciting it was for me to play paintball for the first time, and I'd sort of only been keen to do it for about 6 months by the time that I eventually got out and played. So if you've been waiting for literal years while your stepdad's been traveling around the country and coming back with stories of all the events he's played, I can only imagine the anticipation that you have to get out and play some paintball. So I hope you have a good birthday, and I hope you enjoy playing some paintball. Sent a DM for the Wagga 3 man. Yep, cool, done. Chris saying Claire can finally play. She's been waiting for years. Absolutely. Yeah, so cool. And everyone has a story from their first time playing paintball. I certainly do. I'm sure you all do as well. So yeah, you all know what she's the anticipation, the anxiety, the excitement, all those things that she'll be going through in the next couple of days. And a quick mention on this one right here, the upcoming events. The Brisbane Paintball League was supposed to be happening this weekend, but has been pushed back a week due to some anticipated rain in the area and access to the field being cut. All the teams are well aware of that, but if you still want to sign up and get your team in, well, you can. So the option is there for you if you still want to play at that event at Valhalla Paintball. So get in touch with Troy. That's it. Please, I'm going to bring up a little image in a minute that sums it all up just for you. But like, share, sign up to the Patreon. If you can support in any way, I would appreciate that. So go over and do just that. But most importantly, just join me again next Monday. We'll talk all things paintball yet again. Thanks, guys. Have a great week. Bye.